And we're live.
Welcome back, folks. Another great topic this week. So, this week I wanted to talk about dogs and stress. Do you actually know when your dog is stressed? Dogs, I always talk to my clients about this. Dogs are talking to us all the times. And the more you understand your dog's body language and if they're stressed, the more you can help them out along the way. So, what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about the different signs of stress and how to go about making sure your dog's not stressed in the future. Does Archie get stressed about anything, or is he pretty much chill?
No, he gets stressed. He gets stressed about different things.
Mhm.
Sometimes he wants to go out. Sometimes he's
Yep.
like wants some food. Sometimes he's sees other dogs that he's not super friendly with, and there's just
Hmm.
those little things. My daughter stresses him out from time to time. So
Oh yeah,
little
the
things like
hyperactivity. Yep.
that.
Yeah. So, yep, just like Scott said, there could be various things that stress your dog out. And just keep in mind, everyone's dog's going to be different. If you're just new to getting your dog, just keep in mind that it may take a little bit for you to get to know your dog, just like your dog's learning you. But there are some signs that I'm going to go through where you may see in your dog already. So, the first thing you might see in your dog, if they're stressed, is more of the whites of their eyes. So just like this, you'll see it'll almost look like the eyes are popping out their heads. And so that's one of the signs that you'll see if your dog's a little bit stressed out. So you want to be mindful and always just look at them in general to make sure nothing's truly changing, but definitely the whites in their eyes. Also, the dog's ears is a good indication of when they're stressed. So ideally, a dog's ears are like pointy straight up or whatever, or, they should be. But what can happen when your dog becomes stressed, they'll become kind of flat back to the head. Have you ever seen Archie's ears like that, like flat
Yeah,
to his head?
I can see sometimes you'll see them when it's different, if like strangers or whatnot, or something alarms him or something like that.
Yep.
I'll see because his ears are long enough, I can see them shift and that sort of thing. And it's interesting
Yep.
to see like, okay, something's happening. I should also be aware of something happening. So what's going
Exactly. And I talk to like my clients about this a lot about dogs' body language, especially when their ears go straight up. That's like a first sign they're kind of onto something. But if you definitely see them go flat against their head, that's definitely a sign of stress. You want to be mindful of that. Also, when your dog shows more of their gums, that's a sign of stress. And that one could be kind of tricky because I hear a lot of time, well, my dog's growling in play or my dog's showing his teeth, if that's okay. So again, look at the context of which is happening. But if your dog shows more of a gums and their mouth is kind of curling up like that, like not even with the sound, but just kind of curling, that also could be a sign of stress. So you want to be mindful of that. Especially if your dog's playing, just check in on them, watch them, make sure that the play's not actually tipping over to, something more when they're stressed. And a quick tip, if you are unsure, if your dogs are stressed or something's going on during play, pull your dog away from the playful situation. If they go running back in, they're fine. But if they kind of cower behind you, they may be feeling uncertain or they may be a little bit stressed. So that's kind of like a good test you can give your dog. Also, unfocused barking is a sign of stress. And so you're probably thinking, what is unfocused barking? My dog barks at everything. But unfocused barking is that type of barking where you kind of look around, you're like, which should they be barking at? Like there's no one outside, there's nothing really going on. So it could be like repetitive, ongoing, prolonged barking. And that's also another sign that your dog may be a little bit stressed. And I talked a little bit earlier, like I said, about the vocalization, like your dog growling during play. So there's also certain vocalization that kind of indicates signs of stress. So again, growling, whining, whimpering, excessive panting could be a sign of stress. But with that one, just be mindful if it's extremely hot day out and your dog overheats quickly, just your dog's hot, they may be thirsty. So you always want to think about that. Also, your dog may also display some of these things if they're anxious. So there's a fine line between, is my dog kind of anxious? You'll see some of these things in separation anxiety too, but they definitely can come along with a stressed dog. Does Archie do any of that, like growling, whining, or
on?
focused barking?
Only when he's stressed, really. So like demand barking, but
Mhm.
like more like whining if he's really hyped for something.
Yep.
He'll stress scratch. So that's when
Yeah.
he'll
Yes.
do what they call like the stress shake. So he'll do that as
Yep.
well.
The shake off. Yep.
Yes, that's a
Yes.
common one. Yeah.
Exactly. And so what God's talking about is when dogs usually scratch like that or scratch their body, it's usually a sign of stress. But again, you have to think about the context in which it's happening. If you're in the middle of the woods, you may want to check for a tick or a flea or something like that. But ideally, that is a sign of stress, which God was talking about. So be mindful of that one too. Also, ingestion or digestion problems, that definitely could be a sign of stress, but it could be a variety of things. But again, look at the context in which it's happening. So I always tell my clients too, if you want to know if your dog is stressed and you're out and about or just in general, try giving them a treat that they really love. If they don't take it, that means they're a little bit too stressed and that you may want to, rethink, what you're doing with them. But definitely if they have diarrhea, even constipation, that can all be caused by like anxiety and stress. So just be mindful of that if your dog's going through that. But if your dog does have any type of bowel issues, you're best to contact the vet, not the dog trainer, but just know that could be a sign of stress. Also, licking is a sign of stress. I know sometimes it can be cute and things like that, but dogs will lick when they stress. They may even lick a same spot on your body. And so that's also another sign of stress. Does Archie even lick a lot or lick in general? If you're a
What
kisser,
he
I call
will
them
do,
kissers. The
he'll
lickers.
like he'll lick his lips. So that's one thing that we notice sometimes.
Yes.
That's the one main thing that he'll do when we know he's a little bit stressed or something's off type of thing. So
Yep.
yeah.
Absolutely. And so when do you see him lick his lips usually?
Honestly, it happens at night sometimes when his tummy's not feeling well.
Yeah.
Then
Yep.
you hear it more than you see it type of thing.
Exactly.
More
Yep.
that side, or maybe if he has to go out and it's just been a while, he'll do
Yep.
that and that sort of thing too. But it's not as often, but I would say it's more in the evening and that sort of thing. We hear it sometimes more than we actually see it. So it's
Okay. Yeah. So definitely, guys, keep an eye out for that one. That's definitely a sign. Another common one that you probably do see is a dog tucking their tail in between their legs. That is definitely a sign of stress. So normally a dog's tail, if they aren't stressed, will be swinging side to side. It'll be happily wagging and stuff like that. But if they're stressed, you'll see them and they'll have their tail tucked in between their legs. So again, in that case, you just look at what's going on around the dog and try to make it a little bit safer for them. But definitely there are some more body language signals that your dog does display when they're stressed. So like they could be shaking or shivering, but again, if it's like 0 below out, they're probably cold. So take the context into consideration. Abnormal shedding, your dog could be stressed. Tense muscles, excessive drooling. I do see a lot with the dogs I train, especially in separation anxiety. Drooling is a sign that your dog is stressed. Itching and scratching, like Scott was saying, your dog just doing one of these numbers. But again, if you're in the middle of the woods or someplace where they may have something on them, check that out. Licking lips and nose, yawning, that's another sign that oftentimes get misunderstood because like, oh, my dog's yawning, they must be tired. But at the same time, they could be stressed. Taking into consideration, did they just come from a 3-mile hike? Or are they in a situation where there's a lot of loud noises and, they don't like them? Then they probably would be stressed. So take that in consideration. But you may ask yourself, why is my dog stressed? How do I figure it out? Why my dog's stressed? So like I said, if you're newly just getting your dog, I always tell folks, look at what's happening around your dog when you start to see that behavior. So if you see, like, oh my God, Fido's tail is tucked, look around and see, like, is there a dog near that, are they usually triggered by dogs? Was there a siren going by? So start to look at things around you that may start to trigger your dog or may have them feel uncomfortable, which may cause the stress. Also, another thing you can do is, if you look around and you don't see anyone or anything around that is causing the stress, try to think of what may have happened right before you saw this kind of body language, and kind of what happened after. If you're sitting at home thinking like, that was an awkward incident, and that can kind of give you like a telltale signs as of what's kind of stressing them out. Just kind of looking at the environment around your dog. A lot of things that do stress out a dog. Some things that I can't say a lot. Well, some things that do stress out a dog are a lot of loud noises. Those can be very stressful, especially if you live like in a neighborhood where it's very low key. busy, not a lot of action going on. Even taking them to like a not downtown area, but a busy main street may be a little stressful for a dog if they're not used to being in that environment. So be mindful to keep that into consideration. Also, if your dog has any form of separation anxiety, whether it's from you or being in the home, that could be a little bit stressful for your dog. And another thing that you guys may not take in consideration, you yourself, you may cause your dog to be stressed. I tell folks all the time, be mindful of the body language and what you're doing around your dog. And I talk to my clients a lot when it comes to leash reactivity and like jerking on a leash or just being scared that your dog's going to do something, just being more relaxed and stuff like that. Especially if you know what your dog's triggers are and you're like stiffening it up and becoming stressed before they are, then they're going to become stressed and it comes right down to the leash or they can feel it on you instead. So just be mindful of that. But hopefully you guys have gained some good insight as to what it looks like when your dogs are stressed and far as their body language. And I know we have a handout that I use all the time with my clients that kind of shows you the different dogs' body language. And I think Scott's going to drop it in the comments maybe.
Yep, I'll drop it in after, for sure.
Scott's going to drop that in the comments, and you guys could take that, print it out. The kids love it too. I use it. Hang it up on your fridge. You kind of look at it like, oh, that's what my dog's talking about. And dogs love routine. So if anything, get your dog on a routine so that they're less stressed. Dogs love when they're able to predict something. So if you keep them on the same routine and stuff, that'll also help them be less stressed in general. But hope you guys got some good tips. Scott, do you have anything to kind of add to the conversation before we hop off?
No, if you have anything you're like, hey, I don't know if this is stress or something else, drop it in the comments. Pam will jump on it and be like, yeah, that's probably a stress, or hey, maybe you should actually talk to a vet. Those things, we're happy to help. Again, you can reach Pam, Down for Paws, Instagram, Facebook, downforpaws.com. We have a new website up, so it's similar to the old one, but
check out the new website.
Good stuff there. But yeah, again, it's fun. It's good to actually start to learn and recognize different stress things, and then now you get to read the body language and have a better understanding of what your dog is going through, because maybe they're not tired when they yawn, maybe they are stressed, and then you can help just put them in a better place for sure. So
All right, so we will see you next week with another great topic, and everyone have a safe week and weekend.